Hello everyone, it's Annette Green, and clearly we are doing something a little different today. I am going to make some cards. Actually, I'm going to make one card. I've made a few already with clear acetate. This is something I've done a long time ago and just got an itch to do it again. It's been so long. So today is a big day because if you watch the Elizabeth Craft Designs YouTube and Facebook Live, you saw that David Roodenburg with our team, our design team with Elizabeth Crafts, has come out with another new release. So I'm going to show you a couple of projects made with his new release. So like I said, acetate is what I began with, and I get it on Amazon, and I will link it below, but it's this Jekkis, Jekkis brand. I buy 12 by 12 sheets. Yes, they come in 8.5 by 11, maybe by other companies, maybe by them, I don't know. But I get 12 by 12 because sometimes I don't know if I'm just going to do a standard card size. I might want to do a slimline card, which I'm going to show you later, or I don't know, a different size. So I just get 12 by 12 and I save my little scraps. They're all in the bag here. Let's talk about first this card here. It's always kind of hard with a clear acetate card to kind of show what's going on because it's clear, and you know, that's the hardest part to doing this, honestly, is when you cut a card base out of the clear and then you lay it down, trying to find it again. So here it is, and as you can see, there's some metallic cardstock going on here with these wonderful gears, which I'll show you, and it's very simple and plain on the inside, but this is your standard card size. It's a top folding, and all these great new dies in here. So let's talk about those first. I combined a few things with David's new release. So the first part of it is David's stuff, and that is number 2035, Get Into Gear. And I used 2037, the alphabet, numbers, and more set, which are these great grungy looking letters and numbers and symbols. I used that for my Happy Father's Day. Part of Happy Father's Day, though, I used the 1986 alphabet tabs. You've seen me use these a lot in the past. I just used the little letters inside the tabs, and that was to make the word happy up there. So there's the letters I just showed you with David's release, and these are from Esther's. The paper back here is from Reminiscence, the book 6. Brand spanking new, wonderful. But Father's Day here, believe it or not, is from a new paper collection from David. And as you can see here, it was quite a bit lighter when I die cut out the letters. If you can see them there, I have double-sided adhesive on the back. I just darkened it up with a little bit of Uncharted Mariner Distress ink, just to kind of make it a little more blue. When I got it on the card, it needed to pop a little bit more, so I've done that. And this little bit of, let's call it drywall tape, that comes from one of Esther's newer dies. This is from 2031, the mannequin set. See that big strip there? I just kind of cut it out of red and kind of tore it and randomly put that on there. And there is a new stamp set from David that looks very much like these words on here, but that is not where I got them from. But I'll show you his stamp set anyway. It's the new Journal Phrases 2, which is CS305. And there is a set 1. Let's see if I can grab it right here. Set 1 and set 2 now. So those are great to stamp and cut out, and they look very much like this if you were to emboss them in white, let's say. However, these are cut from Reminiscence, the book 6. There's some right there that I cut away. And there was another page somewhere else that had them running down the side of the page, and that's where I cut some more of those words. Okay, so obviously when you make a clear card like this, you do have to be careful about your placement and the types of glues that you use, which we'll go into all that when I make my card. Here you can see underneath, and I have put this paper this way so when you open it you still see all this instead of the back side of all these pieces, but you do see the back of those word strips and the backs of the gears. If you wanted to go that extra mile, you could cut out another set of gears and line them up with what's there, you know, cut this off, or actually put that right over the top of that like that. And then, you know, you just want to make sure you get it perfectly lined up so you don't see that through the front there. And then when you open it, it looks kind of cool too. I could do that with all the gears that I have overlapping. But you know, honestly, this does not bother me at all. It doesn't bother me. And you know, I don't want to go and cover up all these strips with the words, so let's just leave it all that way. And I'm pretty happy with that card. So there's one. So going completely away from the masculine look to a very bright and cheerful, maybe more feminine, depending on who you are, type of card. This is with another set, and that is this big giant one here. It is called 2033 Ticket to Fly Free. So it's got these great butterflies. I'm going to say that's a moth, and then some stem kind of pieces, and then fly free and time, and this egg-shaped little cool thing here, and then this big page like ticket die. And when it's folded up, I'm sure there are different ways you can fold it, but this is what I have done, and this would go great into one of the traveler's journals, like the square one. If you folded it differently, I'm sure that it could go into the smaller TN size. They don't put score lines, they just have this little dotted tearaway here. So you can make it any size you want, fold it however you want. I think it would make a pretty cute little card, or maybe in a planner this way, on a planner page where it pops open like this. There's a lot of possibilities. So that's all part of that big die set. I went super colorful on this card. I do have paper on the back again, and then paper inside, and then this paper is actually, that we see here, the pink, is actually on the back of the card. So, I mean, you can do that. Fronts, backs, doesn't matter. And I do have my little moths and butterflies popped up with a little foam tape here. I've got some little black pearls. Super fun to make. I even put a little eyelet in the end of this fly free tag, and some wax twine that kind of matches the rest of the card here. Really cheerful, super fun being on a clear card. And as you can see, you know, you can show as much of the clear card as you want, or, you know, do a lot of covering up with paper but still show that it's clear. It's kind of a cool card to receive, I would imagine. Okay, so now we are going to make another one together, and this one is going to be a little different size. So you can see what's going on. I'm going to put this white sheet of paper here, and I have pre-cut my piece. This is going to be your standard slimline size. And if you don't know what size that is in inches, it's 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 by, I think it's 8.5. Now, you know, you pre-cut it, of course, the big size, and just like any card, you score this down the middle. The only difference is maybe on your scoreboard, rather than using, say, the little bone folder that would come with it, you might want to use something like a ball stylus that really gets down into the channel to make that score. And then when you fold it, you have to maybe get like a heavy duty bone folder or your bigger bone folder, and just really kind of burnish that nice and flat like that, because it does want to tend to pop up a little bit. So this is looking nice. I'm happy. And I thought, well, slimline, let's put a little background on there. So I grabbed an old slimline die from Yosette. This is 1882, the slimline background 1. I've used this a number of times on cards. It's just a nice big die with all these cutaways. It's really pretty. And I kind of was thinking about a purple theme here, so I went ahead and die cut that out of this nice light purple color. And we're going to get that right on there. So what glue do you use? Anything that dries clear. And I would recommend, because we are going to see this a little bit, although we are going to layer some paper underneath on the inside, we are going to see the adhesive on the back of here. So if you were to use, let's say, a really fine adhesive tape, that might show a little more than just good old clear drying glue. So I'm going to use my Barely Art Precision Craft Glue. And just so you can see, I've only put glue on this outside edge. I'm not putting a bunch. I don't want it to glob out. And I'm working quickly, even though this has a little bit longer drying time. And I'm just going to put a few dots here and there, because I know I'm going to layer some things over this and it's not really necessary to put a ton of glue, but I'm just going to hit a few places, and I just wanted you to see it's just little quick dots. Okay, and I have flipped the card over, and I just want to, I like to press it from the back side in case I have a little glue on my fingers or anything. I can clean it off on the back side. I don't want to mess it up on the front and maybe get into those open places. And right now, if you were to look at this closely like I am, you do see the glue. And I can even get under here. I just want to make sure nothing is popping up while it's trying to dry. And all of these little blobs and white places of glue will definitely go clear, and you won't see so much of that later. So what I want to do now is, because I have already experimented with what I want on here, I have it all pre-cut over here off to the side. I do know that this is going to work well as my color underneath. Now I could put that on the base, and that could be the place that we write. However, that might, you know, any writing in there might show through on the front of the card when you're looking at the card, and we don't really want that. So what we are going to do is we're going to adhere it to the back or the inside front cover of the card, like so, right about there in the middle. Okay, so another one of David's new releases is 2034, the Timeless Rounded Corners set. Okay, this has a great page die, basically without the holes on the side. You could use this in a planner. You could use this in your TNs. It just depends on which direction you want to use it. And then we have this little cutout here. Of course, you could cut a little window if you wanted to. We have a little pocket that's great. This can be like little drips, or it could look like a little notebook edge. We have a tab and a cutaway of moth. Pretty little greenery here, little stem thing I'll show you in a minute. And this beautiful, this is what got my attention right here. It's sort of like a doily or a medallion kind of thing. And look at how pretty it is when you die cut it in black. I just think it's so beautiful, so delicate, so nice. Man, that thing die cuts just beautifully. And so I'm picturing these to go, because of course I did 3, in these 3 places here where I concentrated a lot of that glue. But I don't want to just do that. I think I want some color underneath. So just while I'm working, see how the card wants to pop open? I would have, that's because I've opened it and closed it a lot when I was working to adhere that paper to the inside. So just to keep that nice and flat, I'm just going to burnish it again. I could always lay something down to hold the card down, but I think that's going to be good enough just like that. So what I want to put behind here, which I thought would look really pretty, is I used a 1.5 inch circle punch. And I punched out not the same color, but a compatible colored purpley, lavender-ish, reddish, whatever color that is. Violet, let's say, a little violet to it. And doesn't that look nice? I think it looks nice. So I did 3 of those. So we're going to glue those right there. And then we're going to glue these right on top. And it's really starting to look beautiful, I think. I have die cut that little leafy stem die on this kind of bright green cardstock. Sometimes when you're making a card or a layout or whatever it is, do you struggle with just deciding what the heck color you want something to be and cut out so many colors? I mean, look at this. I literally couldn't get my brain to like anything that I had cut out. Is that the same? Yeah, that's the same. So how many colors is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then finally 9 I liked. So yeah, bright green is okay, but maybe too bright. I don't know. And then yellow, because we had yellow already. I thought yellow didn't really work. This shade of pink was okay, didn't love it. This really bright pink may have worked, but it just wasn't speaking to me. This same color purple didn't work. A darker purple, which is what I really thought that I wanted to do. I felt like, I don't know, felt like it was just too much of the same color. So I'm really curious what you all think and what you would have chosen. I even went with white for a while thinking, well, maybe just white. That's not bad. But for some reason, this was the color that I finally said, I like it. I'm going to use some little flowers, and we're going to incorporate that leafy stem, and we're just going to put it on top. So I didn't ink the edges of these. They don't need it at all, but I am, you know, you have to kind of hold and press a little bit longer when you are adhering to the acetate. So just remember that. And none of this will show because now we have that piece of paper behind our card front. We can glue away and not worry about it. So I'm just getting these right down the center. I haven't decided what sentiment I want to put on this card yet. I love the hello in my everyday word set because then you can use that card for any occasion. Hello, and then right on the inside, happy birthday, or hello, was thinking about you, or hello, I'm sorry I heard the bad news, or just here to cheer your day, or something like that. That's why I love that word hello. And I don't know if you can see that where I focused the glue. A little bit around the outside edge, a little bit in these larger places, and then a little bit here. And I just dropped it on the card a moment ago, but it's all good. The glue dries clear. I'm not worried about it. I just love that die. That is so pretty. Okay, see how I'm swirling and pushing? I gotta just hold it because it wants to come up. So it needs just a little more time, like I said. And I went ahead and put a piece in here, and that's for my writing. I decided on this very rainbowy color. And you can see when you look at it here that it's a little bit smaller than the paper that is on the inside front of the card there. Just so that I didn't have to line it up perfectly, and it looks kind of cool from the back anyway. I also wanted to point out to you that I got a little glue. You're probably not going to see it like I can, but there's a little bit of glue on this acetate on the inside here, and I want to get that off of there. So I just grabbed this guy. I don't know what they call it, but you can find it in the craft store with the stamping stuff and all that stuff. It just picks up any glue blobs like that they got on your page. And so you just kind of tap it in there. There's a little bit here on the front. I'm not dragging real hard. I'm just kind of poking it. See the corners, how they get kind of built up? That's what's grabbing that excess glue that's there. So that's very easy to just pick up and clean up a little bit. So it's looking nice. I got my inside done. And now I wanted to put some flowers here in the center. And if you are a fan of Elizabeth Craft Designs, you know that we have a new Florals release as well. And I am going to show 2044, the Florals minis. You get all these great little minis, all these tiny little leaves, the centers of the flowers, and you got a fern here. And I just picked this flower in particular right here off of this strip. And of course the bonus is when I'm cutting these out, I just cut the whole strip, and then I have all these extra little white flowers that I can save and use for future projects. So I wanted to make some cute little flowers that have no name to them. I don't know what type of flower they would be, and that's the beauty of these. They don't name them, so they have to look like anything in particular. And so I've just made a little purple flower with a yellow center and a little lighter edges, and I'm going to show you how I shaped it, how I colored it, and then we're going to get these on here. So I've got a little extra sheet here. You can see where I've been working with my Olo markers. That is what I'm going to use. You can use any kind of marker. You could use colored pencils if you like, but I am going to use my new Olos, and they are alcohol markers that I have talked about before. And so I'm going to do 3, and just very quickly I'll show you. First I color them, and I'm just using 3 of the markers, 2 colors and the 0 they call it, and you'll see what I'm going to do with that in the end. I am going to use this brighter yellow, so it's yellow 2.3, to just very quickly color my centers. And this could just be a circle. Easy as that. I'm not doing any coloring on the back side of these at all because you really aren't going to see that whatsoever. And then I'm going to take my lighter violet 2.4. I'm pretty sure that's what I use. Let me check. Yes, 2.4. No, actually I used the darker one first, and that is Violet 2.6. And this is one marker. And I've shown you, this is the beauty of the Olo markers. This is how you get them, and you can put them together however you like. I just know that these two colors are very close together, and when I'm blending, I want them to be close to their next compatible color if I'm blending out. So as you can see, I'm going around that yellow with this darker violet. I don't have to be, you know, perfect about making little strokes or anything, because I know I'm going to blend my next color out from this. I just want to leave a little yellow kind of round center. Okay, and then I will switch to this lighter color and just blend that right on out. Couldn't be any easier. I'm going to get away from this yellow I've got going here, because I'm pretty sure that's some oxide ink that I blended earlier. I don't really want to mix those. Okay, you get the idea there. Okay, and when I use alcohol markers, I do double up a nice thick sheet of paper because they do bleed. It doesn't matter what type they are, they're going to bleed through, see? And it didn't really bleed through here. There's a teeny tiny little spot, but just to be safe, I always do 2. And I could stop here and be happy with that, but I want to do something with that 0. And the 0 is kind of like, you can equate it to a blending marker, but really it kind of just lifts color a little bit. So I'm just going to touch the very edges, and I'll hold this up so you can see. I'm just touching the very edges, and we'll compare one that I've done this to and one that I haven't done it to yet, so you can see the difference. It just really kind of adds a little bit of texture and dimension. I could stroke down the sides if I wanted to. It sort of lifts the color just slightly. So I didn't really want white tips out here. I just want them to be a little bit lighter as we go out. So let's see how that looks up close when you do that, or when you leave it. Let's put it on something where you can actually see it, not in my hand. So the one on the left here, you can see there's that little bit of ghosty white around the edges, and this one is just very solid. When I shape this flower, that little tiny change makes it look a little more realistic, a little better. So I'll continue to do that on these other 2. And when you get all done, there's absolutely no color left on this 0 marker. You would think it would maybe turn a little bit of that violet color. Absolutely not. It's wonderful. Okay, here we are. We have our flowers. I'm trying to decide on a plan, and I think what I want to do here is, I think I just want to snip these right at the base and not leave all that stem on there. And then I'm just going to glue. We'll just do one at a time. Just give it a second. And then I'm going to switch to some thicker glue. You can use Kids Choice. I have my Aleene's super thick right at hand here, so that's what I'm going to use. But anything that's thick and quick drying, quick grabbing will do. I'm just going to dip it in there and use my little fine pointed tweezers to hold that for a second. And we'll just make a little cluster. Kind of tuck one underneath the other. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm kind of hiding from you here. Let's get a little closer. There we go. And we'll get our third one on there. And that's looking kind of pretty. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered, especially because this is going over here. Okay, great. I'm happy with that. Looks kind of pretty. The glue is still drying a little bit, so let's make a decision together. Here we go again with the colors, right? So like I mentioned, everyday words, these are all the words that I have right now in my first release of everyday words, and I was having trouble deciding what combination I wanted, so I've done 3 different ones, and I want it to go right about here. So let's see what we like. This is the only way we can decide, really, is I have to see it. That's not bad. I like it. This one might be my least favorite because too much purple. I kind of like some more black. So then I picked, because we have some yellow on the black. So what do we like? Do we like this? Or do we like this? I'm gonna need a minute. Okay, well, I don't know which one you liked, but I decided on this one, and here's why. I was originally trying to float it in here in between, and you know me, I like to overlap. So if we overlapped my second choice, the black and the yellow, the black would be on the black. And it's okay, but I feel like this is better. So I hope you're happy with it, because that's what it's going to be. And I did pop it up with some foam tape, and I like it. I like it. I'm not changing it this time. I'm good. Okay, so there are 3 different acetate cards. Very fun to make, very fun to experiment with, different sizes and ways to open them. I hope you like it. I hope you give it a try. Congrats to David on his second release. It's beautiful. It's super fun to play with. I hope you join me soon in my next video. Take care, everybody, and thank you.